Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is May 22nd, and I am back today. I was in Iowa and Nebraska yesterday. Caught some more tornadoes out there, and I broke my year-long streak. I think I had done a video every single day for a year until yesterday here. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the consistency of the channel here anyway. But taking a look at the visible satellite imagery, you can see the low pressure center kind of spinning right here over Oregon and Washington. We have thunderstorm chances here today, and you can kind of see the wraparound moisture trying to come back across some of the Olympic mountains and over the Cascades right now. As well, as I was flying in, I noticed the wind was out of the northeast there at about 37 knots at 18,000 feet. So interesting stuff. And you can clearly see this system as it moves down across Oregon, as we're moving off to the east here as we go through the day today, slowly but surely. And we'll take a look at the extended forecast coming up here as well, as we always do every single day. Taking a look at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. Look at this, only 52 degrees the one day I'm gone there. A very chilly afternoon high there with 66 hundredths of an inch of rain, 2/3 of an inch of rain. So it's a nice bump in our precipitation so far this month. Hopefully we can end up the month, getting back up towards normal here. Pretty, actually kind of mild month so far overall as far as weather is concerned. The only thing we've got there, as you can see, they put different symbols for fog or dense fog or thunder or ice pellets or hail or freezing rain, drizzle, dust storm, sandstorm, blowing snow, tornado, smoke haze, and the only thing we've got is just that mist there in the in the non-dense fog with the one code right there. And here we go with Oregon, Portland, Oregon here as well. Same thing, just fog and mist so far this month. No thunderstorm activity yet reported at the airport. Only 56 degrees at Portland and 44 hundredths of an inch of rain. So nice, cool, rainy day yesterday. Also breezy as well. I think we had 37-mile-per-hour gust at SeaTac overnight last night and into this morning here. I even saw some branches down on my jog when I got home and when I landed this morning. On the flight back from Omaha. So taking a look here at the 18,000 feet, 500 millibars, you can see the European on the left versus GFS on the right. We have British Columbia here, and there's Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana, and there's Alberta. If we put this in motion, of course, a good agreement in the short term as this pivots down across the region here, and then we kind of bring another system here as we go towards the end of the week, and we're keeping this troughing around as we go through the weekend. Little tiny transient ridge tries to swing through here, but we're probably going to have this trough pretty close to the Pacific Northwest as we go into the early portion of next week. And you can see pretty good model agreement really through about 150, 174 hours there. And then we start to really disagree here as the GFS wants to keep the trough across Pacific Northwest. And look at the Europeans start to build a ridge here off the west coast of North America, which would really warm us up. And this would keep us much below normal. And we're about 210 hours out. So you can see one model is going to be sadly disappointed in a completely wrong forecast, most likely here, unless we split the difference perfectly. But we'll be watching that over the next few days. Something interesting to look at in the models. Taking a look at precipitation, you again can see the upper level low that we're dealing with that we saw in the visible satellite imagery. And as we go through tomorrow, you can see we are going to develop potentially some thunderstorm activity across eastern BC, northeast Washington, Idaho Panhandle, and through some of Montana. Then when you get this next system as it starts to roll in here Friday, it's not that wet of a system here for most areas, but it will bring some precipitation. You can see some of that coming across. We go through Saturday morning, better amounts across the higher terrain, even some snow for the higher terrain. And you're not looking at big snow events for a lot of the pass areas, but Mount Baker could get a few inches of snowfall, for example. And if we put, we keep going off into the future here, and you can see as we go through Sunday, we've got the system moving into British Columbia. It's going to keep Vancouver Island, western BC. It's going to keep that precipitation going all the way through Monday morning here, almost like an atmospheric river look to things here as we go through the weekend on into early next week. Some persistent precipitation, which is good for the fire season out there also. Hopefully this can continue to bring some measurable precipitation to the Rocky Mountains. And if we scroll off a bit far enough, you can kind of see we start getting a little bit squirrely once we get 144 hours plus in the forecast, or 156 hours there, and you can see that we're going to have another system potentially running in here. So yep, I will continue to watch that as we go, and we'll watch this troughing off the coastline here as well. And if we take a look at what's expected today, you can see we do have that thunderstorm potential near the border. You can see it up across the Rocky Mountains, Idaho, Montana here as well. And then as we go through the day tomorrow, that thunderstorm chance is mainly going to be northeast Washington, BC, some extreme northern Idaho, northwest Montana. So, and if we go off to the future here, you can kind of see that we have that mountain thunderstorm activity pushing off to the east, and not much is expected in the following days after that. But we will be watching, of course, and that can change. And checking out my storm chase stuff there, you can see there is some enhanced risk for some severe storms across some of extreme southern Oklahoma and Texas today. But if we look across Pacific Northwest, you can see it's just a marginal, not a marginal, it's a general thunderstorm risk. The darker green is marginal here. So this is just a general thunderstorm risk for today. It does include Pendleton and Bend, Oregon, however. So heads up, eyes on the sky, watch out for the thunderstorm activity that could be ongoing. If we take a look at total precipitation in inches, I'm going to scroll through here. And of course, we had the very rainy day for some areas yesterday. But as we go through the next, several systems, you can see we're not looking at a lot for Seattle or Portland on the National Blend of Bottles. Better amounts definitely across Vancouver Island, Western BC, as we have this consistent system that's going to be rolling in here as we go through this weekend into early next week. So you can kind of see better for the higher terrain, and for British Columbia and some of the Rocky Mountains, hopefully picking up some decent amounts as well. And I'm just going to scroll through the total snow here also, and we'll see that, for the higher terrain, we're not talking about a big snowfall event right now in our near future for any kind of Stevens Pass or Snoqualmie Pass. It gets exceedingly difficult at this time of year to really bring meaningful snow down to the pass levels here, but hopefully we can, put some on the higher tops there for BC and some of the Rocky Mountains. And we will get some snow for the higher terrain of the Cascades here, and maybe the Blue Mountains out here in the Wallowa Hills. Now, taking a look at the National Blend of Models. So this is for today. You can see 62, and we do bounce back a bit here as we go tomorrow, but then we start to cool back down as we go Friday and Saturday with that next system trying to roll in here. Then we go Sunday, only 62 for Seattle, 67 Portland, some 70s east of the Cascades. You can see the valleys of British Columbia warming up this time of year also. And then we bounce back a little bit more on Monday, Tuesday, not too bad. You can see the mid and upper 70s for some of the Willamette Valley, and we continue on in through next week, and we'll just break it down day by day to see what we can expect. If we look at the 2-meter temperature anomaly, you can clearly see the system over us right now in that upper level low as we go through the next couple of days. And then we remain cool for the most part here as we go on in through early next week. And then we bounce back a little bit here at the beginning of the following week. But you can see we're going to have additional troughing potentially out there as well. But then maybe warming up at the end of May on in through early June. Take that with a grain of salt, but we'll be watching it. And if we look at the European artificial intelligence, so this is 18,000 feet, 500 millibars. And what I want to do is I showed you these coming up here, and then we are looking at some troughing here, and we're looking at building a ridge potentially across a lot of the western USA, but systems still could be swinging by the area, and depending on just where the trough and the ridging sets up, of course, makes all the difference in just how warm we get or how cool we stay. And you can see this persistent troughing out over the Gulf of Alaska and some of the extended runs. However, the GFS is different, so we'll be watching that closely over the next few days. You can see the GFS kind of the bouncing back and forth there as we go from troughing, a little bit of ridging showing up here. Kind of a mixed bag as we go on in towards the end of May. And this is GFS for Bend Municipal Airport there in Eastern Oregon. And you can kind of see the troughing and some of the warmer temperatures showing up as well, with the potential for warmer weather here as we go towards early June. No promises on that yet. We're looking way off in the forecast there. You can see Seattle not expecting huge precipitation amounts, but we do have chances here as we go towards the end of May, but we're not looking at big totals. And you can always see the fun of some of these ensemble members here. You can see ensemble member number 1 actually showed 1.7 inches of rain in a 24-hour period, but this is way out into early June. But it's just kind of entertaining to watch some of these individual ensemble runs get crazy sometimes. And we've got Stampede Pass as well. You can see the rain chances also, and then you can see that same model run way off into the extended. And if you look at these little black lines there, that's the extreme values of some of those individual ensembles. You can see 1.4 in a 24-hour period. So, touching right up there, actually 1.5. You can see it hitting that line. But the mean and the control run, of course, are much less during that time. And that's what you kind of look at for an extended forecast. You look at the kind of the mean average of all those ensemble runs, or you look at the control forecast, which is the blue line. So here's Mount Baker ski area, Northern Cascades, something similar here as well with that very rainy individual ensemble member there. You just take that with a grain of salt, or really you can even just throw it out completely. Mount Baker also, a little bit of snow maybe flying today. We'll have to see if that actually comes to fruition here. But you can see there's actually snow potential for Mount Baker as we go on towards the end of the month as well. 6 to 10 day, you can see some of the west above average, but you see that sliver there with some of these systems trying to stay close to the Pacific Northwest. They included us in that below average there for some of western Washington. And here's the 6 to 10 day. You can see that bullseye for some below average precipitation potentially showing up there as well. But anyway, yeah, eyes on the sky out there. You might see some nice cumulus clouds, maybe a lightning strike or two as we go through the day today and tomorrow for the aforementioned areas. And yeah, it's good to be back here. I will probably be heading out again maybe on Friday for this weekend and more chasing out there across the plains, trying to get in some video for a film we're actually making out there, and hopefully that comes to fruition here as we go through the end of May and on through early June, and hope to share that with you guys here over the next year or so. But anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. We're going to do this all again tomorrow. It's good to be back, and I will talk to you guys then.